single Sundays. What does that mean? That means we dive into what we ended up picking up on our pull list. And if you don't know what a pull list is, it's something that you can go over to your local comic book shop or online comic book shop, either way, to make sure that you end up getting the books that you want to end up having. It's a guaranteed way for you to have the books, and the way local comic book shop to be able to also have a guaranteed sale. So with that, we ended up having some crazy madness that ended up going on. We got a few things that we're going to do before we dive into what we have for this week's pull list. So let's talk about some homework. I know, this isn't grade school or anything like that, but this week I had a little bit of homework that I ended up having to do. What was that homework? Well, it was Ultimate Endgame #1. I had to read this to be caught back up where we ended up needing, because, spoiler alert, Endgame is on this list. So that covers that. And then let's talk about the blast from the past, the ones that came out last week, and that would be Iron Man #1 by Joshua Williamson. I heard a lot of stuff and a lot of buzz going on all throughout the week, and I have a kind of a rule that I go use my card once a week over at my comic book shop, so I ended up picking it up this week to be able to see what the buzz was, and I have to say I was enjoying the story and what's going on with it. But it's not going to be in our rankings. And the final, before we dive into the rankings, the final thing that we have is our flyer. This week's flyer is going to be Magic and Colossus #1. Why did I end up going down this route? Well, it's a brother and a sister all together, and something that's going to be ended up happening. With me being a brother to a bunch of little sisters, I kind of have a little bit of fascination that goes on between the two and see the relationships that they end up going. I ended up picking this up. I love the foundation that's going to be going on, and this could be spending a little bit more time as a flyer, because you know our rules. They have to be 3 issues in, and then we'll decide to add it to the poll or not. So that covers our homework, our blast from the past, and our flyers for this week. So what does that mean? Well, that means we have 3 issues. I ran out of extra boards. So don't think that Captain America is the Captain America. That's something else. So we have 3 issues that we ended up having. How are we going to rate them? What are they? Well, this is when you're going to end up finding out. Coming in at #3, it's going to be Ultimate Wolverine, issue #14. We got some action that's going on. We have Wolverine, we have the Phoenix, and we have an introduction of, I think, Lady Deathstrike that's in the series. It's definitely something I ended up liking. I'm okay with what the story is. It's going to have some massive payoffs. It's going to be coming over with it. Next up, it is Batman, issue #6 by Matt Fraction and Jimenez. So it's a nice little solid way that came over with it. So this ends up having a fallout from that hot date or not date that the Doctor and Bruce ended up having. Ended up having some experiences. And it has some unfortunate events of one of the Robins leaving the mantle. Which Robin? Who is it? What ended up happening? You'll have to pick this bad boy up to figure out what that was. And this is pick #2. So that comes down to the top pick of the week. What is this top pick? What is it going on? What does it do? Well, it is with our homework that we ended up having, and that would be issue #2 of Ultimate Endgame. This is the reason why I had to read issue #1, because I had to get caught back up to where we ended up coming over with it. We ended up having the fallout that was coming out with the choices, where we finally had Iron Lad end up meeting up with his dad. And the problem is his dad doesn't really remember. His dad doesn't really remember much, and there's some other activities. And at the end, there's a double cross. What's that double cross? Who does it? Let's be completely honest. It was totally expected, but we want to see what the reason was for that outcast or that double. We want to find out the reason for that double cross. We'll end up having to find that out possibly next issue. But this was a nice solid pickup, nice solid story that goes on with it, and it may ended up getting a better flow that came overall. So that is your dose of Single Sundays. We ended up having some flyers, had a little bit of homework, also ended up taking over and taking a blast from the past to figure out what book that we ended up missing. What did you think of the books this week? Let us know down in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and until next time, we'll see you later.